Even just placing a fish tank in the wrong spot in your home could silently cause your money to leak away every single day without you even realizing it. A lot of people believe that the bigger and more beautiful the fish tank, the more wealth it brings. But the truth is, a fish tank does not bring you money. What it does is either accelerate or disrupt the flow of prosperity inside your home, depending entirely on where you place it. Some households make money consistently, but cannot seem to hold on to it, while others may not get rich quickly but enjoy long-term financial stability. Sometimes, the only difference comes down to whether a fish tank is placed in the right or wrong spot. In this video, I am going to clearly and simply show you where a fish tank should be placed in your home to nurture long-term wealth and good fortune, not just to hope for short-term luck, but to create a lasting sense of financial stability, peace within the family, and a more effortless life overall. Before we dive into the main content, I invite you to pause for a moment and type a positive affirmation in the comments. Think of it as a way to open the door to new financial energy. You could write something like, "I am ready to receive and preserve lasting prosperity in my home." If you are interested in Feng Shui for interior spaces and in how to arrange your living environment to feel both peaceful and abundant, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and follow along with me. For now, let us start with the most important thing: where exactly to place your fish tank so that wealth has a place to land and stay. To understand why a single fish tank can either boost or weaken your prosperity, we need to look deeper into the nature of water in Feng Shui. Once you understand this clearly, you will realize why a fish tank cannot be placed just anywhere. In Feng Shui, water represents flow, and flow always seeks a path. When you place a fish tank in your home, you are actively introducing a stream of energy into your living space. And that stream will continuously have an influence, day in and day out. Here is the key point: a stream of energy always amplifies what already exists. If the area around your fish tank is open, stable, and harmonious, the water will help circulate prosperity smoothly. On the other hand, if the tank is placed in a cramped, chaotic, or unstable spot, the water will make that disorder even more noticeable. That is why some families say things start happening faster after placing a fish tank, but whether that speed brings good or bad results depends entirely on where and how the tank is positioned. Another reason a fish tank has such a strong impact is because of its constant motion. Unlike many Feng Shui objects that just sit still, a fish tank is always active. Water flows, fish swim, and the filtration system runs non-stop. This creates a steady rhythm, and that rhythm will blend into the daily rhythm of your home. When those two rhythms are in sync, prosperity tends to stay steady, but when they are out of sync, money often comes and goes just as quickly. In addition, a fish tank clearly reflects the balance or imbalance of your living space. Whether the water is clear or murky, the fish are healthy or struggling, the tank is running smoothly or always having issues. All of these are signs of whether your environment is supporting or resisting the flow of prosperity. That is why a fish tank does not just influence your wealth, it also reveals how your wealth is currently functioning inside your home. Once you understand this, you will see that placing a fish tank is not some wishful, lucky gesture. It is a long-term decision that requires awareness, thoughtful observation, and a respect for the natural laws of flow. And that is also why, when placed correctly, a fish tank can become a powerful tool to help prosperity flow smoothly, steadily, and sustainably over time. Now that you understand why a fish tank can affect your financial energy, the next question is no longer whether you should place one in your home, but where to place it correctly. Right after this, I will show you the ideal spots for a fish tank so that the flow of water can actually help your money stay longer. First location: the family's shared living space. When it comes to placing a fish tank to nurture wealth, the shared living space of the household is always one of the most important choices. It does not have to be the most beautiful or formal part of the home. What matters is that it is where life happens on a daily basis. That is exactly what gives this area lasting Feng Shui power, something many people tend to overlook. The shared living space is where people are most present. It is where footsteps pass by, conversations take place, and where rest and connection happen. These natural movements create a steady stream of life energy. When you place a fish tank in that kind of space, the flow of water is no longer isolated. It starts to blend into the rhythm of the household. This is incredibly important because, in Feng Shui, wealth can only remain where life is actively nurturing it. If a fish tank is placed in a quiet corner where nobody really goes, then even though the water flows, it does so in solitude. And solitary water has a hard time holding wealth. On the other hand, when the tank is in a place where people frequently live and move, the water becomes seen, felt, and acknowledged every day. This creates familiarity, and that familiarity allows wealth to stay not in a rushed way, but in a natural, lasting way. Another key point is how it feels to live with the fish tank. In a shared space, the tank should blend in harmoniously, not drawing too much attention, but also not being forgotten. When you pass by and feel calm, or when you sit in that room and it does not feel cold or heavy, that is a sign the water is in harmony with the people. And that harmony is the foundation for long-term financial stability. A fish tank placed in the shared family space also helps maintain balance in daily life. When the flow of water is steady, not too strong, not too weak, it sets a consistent rhythm. That rhythm subtly influences how people live, think, and make decisions. And decisions made from a place of balance are less likely to lead to mistakes. That is how wealth stays, not loudly, but quietly and steadily. Keep in mind, the tank does not need to be in the center of the room or in a prominent spot. It just needs to be somewhere people can easily see and access during their everyday routines without being in the way or causing inconvenience. When the tank becomes a natural part of your living space, the water inside begins to merge with the rhythm of your family life. Second location, a place with soft and stable lighting. When placing a fish tank at home, many people only focus on where it looks good or fits with the decor, but they often forget to consider the lighting around it. In Feng Shui, lighting has a deep impact on how water flows, and from there, directly influences how well a home can hold on to prosperity. A fish tank should be placed in an area with soft lighting, not too harsh, not too dim, and most importantly, consistent throughout the day. Soft light helps the water remain smooth and calm without feeling tense or cold. When water is in this state, the fish swim gently, the surrounding space feels pleasant, and the people in the home feel more at ease when looking at the tank. If the lighting is too weak, the tank starts to take on more yin qualities. The water may still be flowing, but the overall energy of the space feels heavy and lifeless. In an environment like that, financial energy is hard to stabilize because the flow is not properly supported. People in the house may feel more tired, less clear-headed, and financial decisions may lack the sharpness and confidence they need. On the other hand, if the tank is exposed to intense lighting, especially direct sunlight or strong spotlights for long periods, the water can become overstimulated. The fish may swim faster, but that speed is not sustainable. In these cases, money tends to come in quickly and leave just as fast. It does not stay for the long haul. What matters most is not whether the lighting is strong or weak, but whether it is stable. A spot that is bright at some hours and dark at others, constantly shifting throughout the day, makes it hard for the water to hold a steady rhythm. When the rhythm of water is disrupted, wealth tends to become unstable too, fluctuating up and down, hard to control. The best location is one where, when you look at the tank, your eyes do not need to adjust. You are not squinting, and you are not straining to see. It just feels natural and effortless. When the lighting feels that way to you, it is a sign the water in the tank is also in its most harmonious state. Third location, a spot that does not block pathways. In Feng Shui, pathways represent the movement of opportunity and wealth. Every step you take through your home is not just physical movement, it is also how energy flows. When you place a fish tank in a way that partially blocks a path, even just a little, you are unknowingly creating a blockage in that energy stream. The water inside the tank may still be flowing, but the financial flow in the house will not be. One clear sign of this problem is when you have to consciously avoid the tank while walking by, or feel like you need to be careful not to bump into it. That feeling is a sign that the movement in the home is no longer natural. And in Feng Shui, anything that is unnatural makes it hard for wealth to settle in. Money, like people, does not like to be dodged or forced. The right placement for a fish tank is one where you can walk by it freely without thinking, without adjusting your steps. When the pathways in your home are open and clear, energy can move easily, and prosperity has a better chance of flowing steadily. But if the pathways are blocked, you will often run into small but repeated issues around money, unexpected expenses, delayed plans, or financial decisions that feel hard to carry out smoothly. Another important point is that a fish tank should not divide a space. If it cuts through a pathway, it makes the living area feel disjointed, and the flow of energy gets interrupted. This not only affects wealth, but also makes day-to-day living feel less comfortable, even if you do not notice it right away. Instead, place the fish tank slightly off to the side. It should be close enough to see and enjoy, but far enough not to interfere with how people move through the space. When you walk into your home and the area feels open and breathable, with nothing blocking your view or your path, that is a good sign. At that point, the flow of water is not clashing with the movement of people, it is flowing alongside it. Good Feng Shui does not demand strong presence. It works quietly, making everything run so smoothly that you barely notice it. A fish tank placed in the right spot, one that does not block a pathway, will subtly support the rhythm of everyday life. Things just move more easily, with fewer interruptions. And that ease is the foundation for wealth to stay. You do not need to chase wealth through flashy or aggressive means. All it needs is a clear, open path to find its way to you and a peaceful place to stay. When the pathways in your home are kept clear, the fish tank stops being an obstacle and instead becomes a natural support for your flow of prosperity, one that is both effortless and sustainable. Now that you know the best locations to place a fish tank to support prosperity, the next thing to look at is a set of common mistakes that many households make. Even one small misstep can be enough to cancel out the positive effect of the water flow. First mistake. Fish keep dying, but the tank stays in the same place. One of the most common mistakes when placing a fish tank is when the fish die repeatedly, but the family just replaces them with new ones without ever rethinking the tank's location. Many people assume the fish died because they were weak, the water was not clean enough, or the care routine was lacking. But when this happens again and again, it is no longer just about the fish, it is about the environment around the tank. In Feng Shui, healthy fish are a sign that the water is flowing in harmony. On the flip side, fish dying repeatedly suggests that the water flow is being disturbed by some conflicting force. It could be unstable energy in the surrounding space. It could be the tank's position, forcing the water to feel compressed or disconnected from the daily rhythm of the household. When the water is not at ease, the life within it struggles to survive. What is concerning is that many families only focus on fixing the surface of the problem. The fish die, so they buy new ones, change the water, or try a different food, but the tank stays exactly where it is. Doing that is like trying to hold water in a tilted bowl. No matter how often you refill it, the water will keep spilling out. Prosperity works the same way. If the fish tank is placed in a position that disrupts the energy flow, changing the fish is just a temporary fix. If your fish are dying repeatedly, that is your cue to stop and observe the space. Is the tank in a spot that feels too cold? Is the lighting inconsistent? Is it blocking a pathway or getting in the way of daily movement? These small factors add up and create an environment that is not right for life. And when life struggles, so does prosperity. Fish are not just pets, they are highly sensitive indicators of energy. When the fish are thriving, the water is flowing well. When they are weak and constantly dying, the energy is stuck or chaotic. If you keep replacing the fish without addressing the tank's location, you are ignoring a clear message that your home is trying to send you. Good Feng Shui is not about patching things up on the surface. It is about adjusting from the root. And when it comes to a fish tank, the root is the placement. Once that is corrected, the water will stabilize, the fish will grow healthier, and the energy of prosperity will have a solid chance to flow smoothly again. Second mistake, believing that the bigger the fish tank, the better. A very common belief is that the larger the fish tank, the more wealth it will bring. People often think water represents money, so the more water, the more abundance. On the surface, that sounds reasonable. But in Feng Shui, this is one of the most misunderstood ideas, and it can lead to serious imbalance. A fish tank that is too large is not just a matter of size. It becomes an issue of balance in your living space. Every home has its own capacity. When the amount of water in the tank exceeds what the space can harmonize with, the water starts to overpower other elements. At that point, instead of nurturing wealth, the tank makes the room feel heavy and cold. This kind of coldness is not always obvious. It is not just about temperature, it is a lack of emotional warmth and connection. When a tank is too big, the strong flow and wide surface area of the water can drain the life energy from the room. People living in that space may start to feel tired, less inclined to gather, or not want to linger. Conversations become shorter, family interaction fades. And all of that impacts your ability to retain wealth. Prosperity does not like spaces that feel emotionally empty. When a room is dominated by water, people often feel small, detached, or uneasy. When that happens, financial decisions become uncertain. You might still make money, but it is hard to hold on to. Money comes in, then flows right out again, spent on things that are not truly necessary, or on plans that never quite lead to lasting results. Another point that often goes unnoticed is that large fish tanks require much more attention and maintenance. If the tank is too big for your household's pace of life, it turns into a burden. That pressure, even if subtle, creates silent tension. And in Feng Shui, anything in your home that gives you the feeling of having to work hard just to maintain it is not beneficial for wealth. On top of that, a big tank can reduce the flexibility of your space. When a large volume of water becomes the center of the room, it limits both human movement and energy flow. The home becomes stiff, less adaptable, less responsive to change. But prosperity needs flexibility to flow steadily over time. The key thing to remember is that Feng Shui does not measure energy by size or quantity, it measures it by harmony. A reasonably sized tank that fits well with the size of your home and the daily rhythm of your family will support your prosperity much more effectively than an oversized tank that feels cold and overwhelming. A fish tank does not need to impress, it only needs to play its role correctly. When the water is just right, the room retains its warmth, and people feel comfortable enough to stay longer. And when people want to stay, prosperity finds a reason to stay too. Third mistake, placing the tank based on gut feeling alone. Many fish tanks are placed simply because they look good in a certain spot. The tank seems to balance the space, make it feel more luxurious, or bring it to life visually. But that placement is often made without observing whether the space is actually suitable for water to remain there. This kind of mistake does not cause immediate harm, but its effects slowly build over time. Intuition in this case often comes from what we see. We look at a fish tank in a certain position and feel that it makes the room look more elegant or complete. But Feng Shui does not work based on momentary visual appeal. It works through energy flow and how a space is used in daily life. A spot may look perfect when you stand still and admire it, yet be completely unsuitable for everyday living. When a fish tank is placed purely by visual instinct, it is often set in areas where energy becomes disrupted. It may be where airflow stops abruptly, where movement is interrupted, or where people constantly pass by without ever pausing. Water placed in such locations becomes unstable, sometimes strong, sometimes weak, and financial energy follows the same pattern. One important thing to remember is that people can slowly adapt to inconvenience, but prosperity does not. You may get used to walking around the tank, having part of your view blocked, or feeling that the space is slightly off without knowing why. Energy, however, is sensitive and responds immediately to even small imbalances. When a tank is placed based on gut feeling, long-term practicality is often ignored. At first, it may feel beautiful and well-positioned. Over time, it can become inconvenient to maintain or simply start to feel irritating for no clear reason. That quiet sense of annoyance is often a sign the placement is wrong. Good Feng Shui does not force you to adjust your life around objects. It works the opposite way. Objects should fit naturally into your daily rhythm. When a fish tank is in the right place, you almost forget it is there. You only notice it occasionally, and it feels pleasant. That is when water can truly support prosperity. A home with good Feng Shui is not arranged on impulse, but through careful observation of how people actually live in it. The same applies to a fish tank. If you place it only because it looks nice, you are following your eyes. But if you place it after observing light, movement, and daily habits, you are aligning it with the true rhythm of life. Wealth does not stay in places that are arranged based on inspiration alone. Wealth stays where there is stability, where things feel natural, and where nothing gets in the way. And that is something intuition, no matter how refined, can never replace the value of careful observation. If you found these insights helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can continue this journey with me in upcoming videos about Feng Shui and how to cultivate lasting abundance right from within your own home. Thank you for staying with me all the way to the end.